Hello and welcome to Miniology. Today we have Norm Nelson here with us. How you doing, Norm?
Hello, I'm doing wonderful and glad to be here in Shasta, California, home of the Shasta Minis.
Nice, nice. Excellent. Good to have you. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the upcoming race at Laguna Seca. We have quite a bit of events going on there. Minis and Mustangs for sure to start off everything. But Norm, can you tell us a little bit about what's happening going on down there for
I'd be ha-
at the yeah, a little bit of Mini and Mustangs.
There you go. Be happy to. The event's called the Velocity Invitational. It is handling from let's see, November 11th through the 14th, coming up this next month at Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. It's being put on by the Sonoma Speed Festival folks. They put on an event in 2019 at the Sears Point Raceway, or considered Sonoma Raceway, and it was a smashing success, one of the best ever. It's a high-end, very, very good group of very vintage and expensive and rare automobiles that actually go out and race on track and are on display. So it's quite a great thing with luxury wines, food tasting, and all kinds of other stuff. So it's a full 3 days of racing, and minis and versus Mustangs are a big part of this. This is a jump back in time to the 1960s. The Mini and Mustangs tended to compete on road racing tracks all over the world, as a matter of fact. Australia being one of them. That's a very popular spot that took on, and also in New Zealand and in the UK. And so it's like a David and Goliath type of competition. So there'll be approximately 25 to 30 minis that will be competing against about a dozen Ford Mustangs. So it should be a great thing. It's going to race into the night on Friday, so we'll have to be into dealing with darkness. There are going to be approximately 50 drivers. These are top-notch Mini classic drivers from all over North America, and even Nick Swift is coming in from the UK. Glad to see he's coming over. He's got a long history of being very competitive, and if you know anything about the UK and Mini racing, it's quite something to watch. So we're looking forward to that. And also on Sunday, they're going to have a feature race at late afternoon. So that'll close out the Velocity International weekend, and we're looking forward to being there to cover all the action, to drivers' interviews, maybe get some autograph sessions, and get some live coverage. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I noticed that Friday they'll be starting about 5 o'clock, taking the track for the doing a little bit of what was it, qualifying, and then again on Sunday I'm looking here at the schedule, 4 o'clock, where they'll be taking the field. So it's quite awesome. I know I was looking at quite a bit of the minis versus Mustangs on YouTube earlier, and that is pretty sweet. If you haven't had a chance, Google Mini versus Mustang and look at those races that are taking place. If I recall, a lot of these are popular in Australia, and it's nice to see something like this come take the field here in the United States. How did this come to be, Norm?
Well, I know Don Racine had a lot to do with it and putting it together, and Rachel Nelson and Mike Kearney as well. They're some of the most active classic Mini participants, and they run the Can-Am series throughout North America. It's a Can-Am Mini Challenge series. So they got in touch with the people at Velocity, or Velocity got in touch with them. And anyway, they put together a team of Minis to highlight. And I think that those folks really saw the excitement of how the Minis, and like I said, David and Goliath. You got the Mustangs that are running the horsepower and the
Yeah.
top end speed, and then you got the minis that can stop and corner like crazy. So you get a Mustang will pass you going down the straightaway, and then you nip on his heels when you hit the turns and inch by him, and then you'll get into a straightaway again, and Mustang will head past, and then you dive in the turn and pass him back again. So it'll be one of those kind of races, I think. The nighttime, none of these cars really have been fitted with headlights, and I know all the guys are working hard to get that perfected. I think their windshield wipers as well is going to be a requirement. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, Don has done a superb job of getting these things ready, because Laguna Seca is a tough track no matter what, whether it's in daylight or dry weather or anything. I raced that track many, many times. It's my favorite road racing track. It's a famous all around the world, and it's just a blast. And to run it at nighttime before those kind of crowds, I just think that's going to be a ball.
Yeah, no, most definitely. It's going to be pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the James Hetfield collection. You were talking about some unique cars. I was reviewing the website and just seeing, the James Hetfield collection will be one of my. I'll be definitely hunting that down. One of the first things when I get there on location. And again, Miniology will be there, providing some interviews, as he had mentioned earlier, kind of behind the scenes. So if you can't get down there, we'll definitely be posting some unique coverage from the track. Very nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
the James Hetfield collection is quite something to see. It's been donated by James to the Peterson Automotive Museum, and they're putting on a big gathering. And Friday night they have a big motorsports going forward conference there. So they're a big part of this whole thing. And if you don't know James Hetfield, he was the head guy with Metallica, and he got involved. Before he got involved with Metallica, he was restoring cars. So old cars, and him and his dad, and he got in touch with some other folks that were notable classic car restorers, and he's done a marvelous job with that. And in addition to him and his collection, Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren Cars, will be on hand with his collection. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to be racing some of his. And I believe he's going to have two of the McLaren Formula One cars, not from this year, but from the 2016. And he'll have Mika Hackett in there as well. And the Ford Motor Company has teamed up and partnered with Velocity International, and they are bringing out quite a few of their GT40s. These are 7 of the 8 Le Mans Racing Series winners, the GTLM class of Le Mans racing. And then there are going to be Ferraris and Maseratis and all kinds of things. As a matter of fact, Jeff O'Neill, he's the guy that spearheaded this, and he's the organizer. He's the supreme guy that's doing this. He will be out there in his 1962 250 GTO Ferrari. I saw recently, or a year or two back, that one of these cars went for $48.5 million at auction. So these guys are out there driving with multi-million-dollar cars. And if you think for a minute they're going to be using COVID distancing, you're wrong. They'll be fender to fender and tire to tire. You watch these guys; it's pretty amazing, and their talents. You call them gentleman drivers, but I got a chance to see them at Thunder Hill for Media Day for this event, and boy, these guys are awesome. They really handle a car, and they drive like real race drivers, which they are. So good for them. It should be a lot of fun.
Awesome. So yeah, make your way out to the Velocity Invitational, taking place at Laguna Seca, November 11 through 14 of this year, 2021. Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Norm, for
I did.
give us a
did
little bit. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to note if you put up the website on this podcast. If you
Absolutely.
have,
Yep.
if not, it's
Yep.
velocityinvitational.com, and that's where you can get information, and you can also get tickets. And if you need any other information, you can go to miniology.com or motorworksmagazine.com or on Facebook, and there's plenty of information there.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's velocityinvitational.com is what we're showing here right now for people to take a peek at. So yeah, it has all the latest updates, yeah, event schedule, all the information that we've been sharing. So if you want to have more information, buy tickets, that's the place to go to. And of course, as Norm mentioned, miniology.com is a great place to go to as well. Very nice, very nice. So, you know, the one thing I've been pretty excited about is, it was during the National Day of Motoring festivities that Mini USA announced that they are facilitating a creation of the first national mini club in the United States. It's going to be called the Mini Motoring Club. The details are still being formulated, but the concept is simple. Regional clubs supported by a national organization. These regional clubs will host local events and support national events as well. And to speak more to this mini motoring club, we have Norm Nelson here, of course, to speak in more detail. Norm, can you give us the inside scoop of what's going on?
Well, to the best I can, it is work in progress at the moment, but it's moved miles and miles ahead. So we're hoping to get this put together for the second quarter of 2022. This will be a club that will be independent of both Mini USA and actually BMW CCA. It will be assisted by BMW CCA as they have infrastructure that we'll be able to use. But it will be there'll be five general territories or regions. There'll be the Northwest region, the Southwest region, the Northeast region, the Southeast region, and the Midwest region. And there will be officers. So there'll be five officers and one regional executive, and then there'll be five regional executive or regular vice presidents. Sorry about that. Some of the benefits is that this will give us, as a mini club, access to executives and experts and people within Mini, and it will give us access to venues. You know, Mini has a way of putting on like Mini Takes Estates. Well, they have a lot of buying power and moving power and getting the word out, and they're interested and excited about not only supporting the national events, but also giving assistance to the regional events and club level events. So there'll be individual chapters that you would be joining, and then also their ability to provide insurance for both the club level and the club events, but the national events and racing events. They've got two different facilities where we'll be able to get access to as a club, and that is the one in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and then it's also the one in Thermal, California. These are BMW performance centers, and in addition to that, I believe there's going to be a lot of other like HPDs, high performance driving events that Mini and the club will be able to arrange. So they also can handle the processing at a club level. For a club executive right now, it's often difficult to get insurance. It's also difficult to manage events and plan them and get the word out. It's also difficult to process the registration and the payments and the swag and everything else that's involved in that. Well, we'll have the infrastructure at our disposal, and we'll be able to use that. So this is going to be a great deal, especially good for the clubs that are like the Facebook groups and the smaller groups. If they wish to get some of these great benefits, it'll make their life a lot easier and give you a lot more benefits. So there is a lot to be said for that. Some of the other clubs that maybe 501c3 or 501c7 club already may have a little less of a benefit to start with, but I think there's still an awful lot, and it should be considered. These clubs should look into it and see if it fits their program. So we're looking at ways to make sure that fit and that transition would be seamless, and you wouldn't lose your existing identity. So anyway, you can message me or on Facebook here, or you can send email to me at pooper@zimbracloud.com if you want to get any additional information. If you're a club officer. If you want to know more about all this stuff, we're still looking for a couple of board spots to get filled. And so if you're in that mode, we'd love to hear from you.
All right, excellent.
And I
So
hope that
we
covers
have
most of
your,
it.
yeah, no, most definitely. We have your email address up right now. Again, that's Pooper, Pooper at zimbracloud.com. That's,
Zimbra.
yeah, yeah, ZIMBRACLOUD.com. So thank you very much for speaking to that, Norm. And I hope people will reach out and become part of this new upcoming event. What's pretty cool, like we mentioned earlier, is that this is going to be great for local events and national events. I can assume that they're going to be taking a huge step launching this during Mini Takes the States. That's going to be coming up here in 2022. And Mini Takes the States is scheduled to take place again July 9th through the 17th of 2022. This will be the 8th Mini Takes the States rally. And this 2022 event will kick off from Burlington, Vermont, and ends at the BMW Performance Center in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The final route with stops will be confirmed at a later date, so keep an eye out for that. Norm, could you tell us a little bit about Spartanburg? What is that? A little bit more detail. Have you been there before?
No, I have not been there, but I am pretty familiar with it. It is the home for the factory, the manufacturing factory for BMW in the United States. It's also the home of the BMW CCA facilities there. And it is also the home for their performance center where they do driving instruction, high-speed testing as well. They also test a lot of their cars there, the BMW cars. So it's a marvelous facility, and that will be where the ending is there. So we'll all get a chance to enjoy that. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing the track. I've been out to the one in Thermal, and it's quite a facility there as well.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much for speaking to that as well. Um, you know, uh, I was really had a great honor having an opportunity to interview Nigel and Harvey Deeth at for the previous episode. That was some really great times, showing a little bit about the, the first episode that we had that played last week, and we've just been really honored by the number of people that have been commenting on that and following that. Norm, can you speak a little bit about the success on that episode featuring those
Yeah.
amazing driver and the organizer for the fastest mini in the world race?
Well, the interview speaks for itself. I think it's pretty well. We're working out to get the fine tuning on little things here and there, but it was full of great content. It's been received all around the world. As a matter of fact, I checked this morning before we came on air. We have had 35.7 thousand people that it's reached, and there's been 17,200 video views. We're getting comments from people in Japan, New Zealand, Australia, of course, the U.S., UK, and other places around the world, Netherlands, and so forth. What we're trying to do too is they're trying to see if they can't make this more of a world event, and they're trying to reach out to see if the U.S. and Canada mini drivers can get involved. So that's going to be part of the conversation when we get down to Laguna. We're going to have 50 of the top drivers, and I hopefully get a chance to talk to them about that because this is quite a series. It's split into 4 groups. There's unlimited and then down from there. So if you're watching any of this racing, which we're working on, Eric's working diligently, we had 7 hours and 42 minutes of live feed time, and that's an awful big amount to watch. So Eric is working at nibbling that down into like 20-minute segments. So there'll be individual races and individual interviews. So you can sit and watch for a 20-minute time and click off, and we'll just keep adding these on to our website, and you'll be able to take a look at those there. Eric can give you where those will be and how to find them. But anyway, Fastest Mini in the world has been running for several years now, and it's quite a deal. And Harvey is the top dog in this event right now, and he's got a Mini that's got 380 horsepower. And it goes like hell. So, but there's a lot of people yapping at his heels, like Bill Richards was right on his tail for a long time. So it's kind of fun. And Nigel is a great organizer, and Castrol Loop oils have been just wonderful to work with as well. So our hats off to everybody in that, and we'd like to see this reach out to the rest of the places, Japan, so forth, and U.S. and Canada for sure, because this could be a lot of fun and a great series.
Yeah, no, most definitely, Norm. And the one thing I hope that we can accomplish with this upcoming race for Minis versus Mustangs, see how we can get that fastest Mini in the world car over here, because I really think it'd be a great race matched up with Joe Huffaker's car or the Fortec Mini. That would be pretty cool out there in the future to find a way that we can bring all these cars together from around the world at one location, one track. I think that'd be pretty awesome. In close of today's episode, I want to encourage people to stick around and watch Paul Cowland and Stephen Cobrand. And Stephen Cobrand's with the Mini 7 Racing Club out of England. And they discussed the cars that raced at Brands Hatch for the fastest Mini in the world race, and kind of go into describing the individual classes. So we'll go ahead and close out with that, and then keep an eye on miniology.com, where we will be, again, cutting up and just sharing all those individual races again for you, because I know that was probably pretty overwhelming to get 7 hours of video all at once streaming that day from the Miniology. But we're working on, again, as the first piece of showing you just a small segment of that. And next week we'll have one of the races and some of the drivers' interviews from England. So with that, thank you very much, and hope you enjoy watching a little bit of the class and how they broke those up there in England. And thank you again for attending, Norm, and we'll see you soon. And hopefully you all can make it out to the Velocity Invitational at Laguna Seca. Have a great day.
Yep.
Hello and welcome to Brands Hatch Mini Festival 2021. It's been 2 years, but we're back. It's great to be back. I'm Stephen. I'm here with the Mini 7 Racing Club. And to my right, we've got Paul.
Hello, I'm Paul, and I'm here with the Castrol Classic fastest Mini in the world. And we have got a packed day of racing today, haven't we? This is all about Sir Alec Issigonis, his marvellous creation, the Classic Mini, in all of its forms. Now, I think you need to talk us through, as the expert on these things. There's so many classes and formulas today. Just explain to me, we've got loads of Minis. Some of them look like Minis, some of them have Mini engines in, some of them really don't, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But what is the basic formula of this race meeting?
Right, okay, so we've got all sorts. We've got 6 races for you today. We've got the Mini 7s, we've got the Mini 7S class, we've got the Mini Miglia, the Libra, and then the fastest Mini in the world race, all going live later on.
And this event has a great history, doesn't it? This has been running for a lot of years.
Do you want me to talk through the Minis as
do,
well?
yeah, just talk me through the formula, because I've looked through the pits. You know this backwards, and I don't. So why are there so many classes, and what are they roughly? Because at the top end you've got fastest Mini in the world, and there you've got space frame chassis, you've got V8 engines.
That's a completely unlimited series.
It's crazy, isn't it? That just anything goes.
As long as it passes a scrutineering, the regular racing motorsport scrutineering, then you can bring it. If it looks like a classic Mini,
and that's literally the only criteria, because some of the cars there, they have nothing to do with Minis. They're just plastic, composite, tubular frame, inboard suspension. We'll have a look at some later. They are so trig. But a little bit lower down the field, but not necessarily in time, are the more traditional Minis in terms of an A-Series engine, or what looks like an A-Series engine.
Well, surprisingly, yesterday in the wet, the Mini Miglias are actually faster than some of these four-wheel drive 800 horsepower cars. So it's not all about power, it's all about balance, agility.
Yeah, and of course driver skill.
Of course, yeah, and some of these drivers have been doing it for decades.
We do have some driving legends. Just talk us through some of the people that have been involved in the scene for a long time. We're going to meet one of the legends later, but we're also going to interview some of the drivers. But just tell me about some of the people that come here year after year, keep winning, and of course race these cars in other series.
We are going to have a series of demo laps from Pete Baldwin later on. He's won the championship 7 times, He's in his 80s, absolute legend. So we're going to see him go around the track. He still tunes minis to this day. So that's a bit of a highlight later on. He'll be doing some demo laps for us.
And he's won, what, sort of 20 championships, I think, hasn't he, over the years?
Well, in the Mini Miglia series, I think it's 7.
Well, yeah, but he's won just
he's been racing since the 60s.
He has a very big trophy cabinet.
And around the paddock,
put it that way.
There's some of the guys here have been doing minis since the 60s, so it's a real collection. And you've got the younger guys coming through as well. You've got guys in their 20s that maybe their dads race minis.
Yeah, and what do you think the enduring appeal of a Mini is? Because it's a race car that's been relevant since the 1960s, and there hasn't been a race meeting somewhere in time since the 60s where you can't see them race. It's probably the only car that's been able to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a small car. You can get 3 or 4 across the grid. You know, racing's always super close and reasonably affordable as well.
Yeah. Although you say that, I mean, we're talking about how you build one of these cars. So if you're building a competitive Mini Miglia, what's an engine cost or something like that?
Maybe best not go into the full costs of it in case anyone's wives are watching.
That's
but,
very true. Actually. They're very affordable, very cost effective.
You can build one yourself.
Series.
Not too bad,
yeah.
Obviously, but if you have one professionally built, you're probably into house deposit money.
Yes.
That said, in the Mini 7 category, you do have the S-Class, which is essentially a standard 1275 road-going engine. So that's very much the affordable end of the Mini racing spectrum.
So talk us through the programme of stuff today. We've got a packed itinerary of racing today, and you know what it is.
I do, I've written it down.
Stephen's a professional. I'm just going to point it out right now.
Well, I've got a notepad, so...
Yeah. You look very important because you've got a clipboard.
So we've got Mini Miglia's coming up. We've got a 20-minute race at 10:30. Then we go over to your grid.
Fastest Mini in the world, which is bonkers. It's the only word to describe it. I'm going to try and walk you through 5 or 6 of the key cars. You will not recognise them as minis, but that race is just silly. And also quite a disparate grid, isn't it? You've got really ridiculously quick stuff at the front, trying to get through by the end of the 15 minutes, the slow stuff at the back. It's going to be a bit silly, that race.
Yeah, and such a short lap as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lapping sub 1 minute. It's probably 54 seconds.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Mini 7s, the 1 litre Screamers, along with the S-Class. Back to fastest Mini in the world in the afternoon. Miglia's again, and then Mini 7s. But we'll put all the timetable up on the screen there later on, so you can watch us all day.
And also, you've got there some lap data, I noticed as well. The level of prep that Stephen's gone into is wildly impressive. So just talk to us about some stats, because people will be impressed by this.
Yeah, cheers, Paul. Right, so we've got the Miglia lap record, Nick Padmore. 54.3 seconds, 80.3 miles an hour average. And don't forget, that's in a A-Series engines, more or less original Mini. That's going some.
That's very quick.
Then go down to the Mini Libra class, very similar, 54 seconds. That's the 16 valves, more unlimited A-Series tuning cars. Mini 7s, which are 1 litre, we've got Jeff Smith there at 59 seconds, 73.47 miles an hour. And then down to the S-Class, Conor O'Brien, who we're going to speak to in a bit, 1 minute. So that's your rough kind of lap time, around about a minute or just under.
So do you think we're going to see any lap records today? Because we should talk about the weather, shouldn't we? Because this is a track, because of the way the surfaces and the corners, particularly corners like Paddock, are very, very tricky in the weather. The weather really affects the lap time here, doesn't it?
It's looking greasy out there, so I think it's unlikely.
But it's very cool, and the track could dry, so you never know. I see hints of blue sky. Could be an interesting day, because the track's very greasy and green this morning, isn't it?
Yeah,
and quite leery, I
we're
think.
so close to the coast here, the weather rolls off the hills, and it's it can be sunny straight away.
It can.
Or, if you're unlucky, you've got your wet tyres on, you burn them out, you know, so it's all down to tyre choice, if the weather's a bit changeable.
And a bit of luck, isn't it, really?
Absolutely,
a lot
yeah.
of that on your setup choice is key here, particularly in the early sessions in the morning before the track dries out fully. So I think we could have some fun early sessions.
I don't think we're going to see any lap records, but we're certainly going to see a lot of close racing. We've got completely full grids in the Mini 7s, so we actually had qualifying races yesterday, which hasn't happened since the 90s. So things are looking really good. Hope you enjoy the day.
Yeah, let's go and interview some of the drivers.
You go that way, I'll go this way.
All right.
See you, Paul.
Bye.